What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video. Today we're going to be checking out some NHL trade rumors from Specters Hockey for May 13th, 2019. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. And yeah, we're going to waste no more time, but you guys have been requesting that I do these all the time. I want to start doing them daily. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. I was doing that for the longest time, but I mix in different videos here and there. And if I do them daily, that means I'd upload probably twice a day. So I might still mix them in. We'll have to see, but you guys know that I love doing them and I'd love to continue them. So let's check it out. Got the news and notes in front of me from Specters Hockey, link down below as always. So just quick to start off with Evgeni Malkin. Now, we've been updating this throughout the weeks and throughout the videos that I've been doing these, updating about Malkin, because we do know that there's been some reports around him. So Sportsnet, Elliotte Friedman, again, a really good source, reporting that a couple of NHL executives who felt that there was some speculation to the Evgeni Malkin trade rumors now think that the speculation will die down. So, like we mentioned in another video, and like I was saying, I didn't think that Malkin was going to get moved, but they do suggest that this was maybe the Penguins trying to rattle his cage, and we did bring that up in another video. The longtime Penguin center had a disappointing season, and some believe he could have played better. So let's forget about the numbers for a second. We all know how good Malkin is. His career speaks for itself. He's a fantastic hockey player. Now, in past videos regarding this topic, we said, both myself and you guys have both said, maybe this is going to be something that they do to rattle his cage a little bit, and it looks like that might be what's going on. So I really don't think that they wanted to trade him. I also don't believe that a lot of teams would probably be willing to deal with that salary cap, especially if Malkin isn't really, wanting to leave Pittsburgh, which we would have to see. He would probably have to waive. I believe he has a no-move clause or a no-trade clause. But, Malkin probably wouldn't be in the best of moods. He probably wants to stay in Pittsburgh. So the best thing is if he stays with Crosby, they're probably going to move on from Kessel. And it looks like it was just to rattle his cage a little bit, which is something that we all speculated a little bit. So if there's something else regarding that, we'll bring it up in another video. So let's move on to the Oilers, and it's regarding Milan Lucic. So the Oilers, before they hired their new GM, Ken Holland, which I did make a video on, but don't worry, I've got some stuff coming about the Oilers, and you guys are going to like it. But he's the new GM. They considered buying out Milan Lucic's contract before he was hired. So we'll have to see if something happens there. But if a workable trade can't be found, and they haven't found one yet, it might be an option, but we'll have to look at how the buyout works, because it says the first 4 years will be expensive, but the cap hit drops to only $625,000 per season through the final 4 years. So Elliotte Friedman also said the asking price for Lucic was unreasonable a year ago, which seems a little bit ridiculous, but so the Specters note here has the cap-friendly numbers on how it would work out. Lucic buyout would result in a $3.625 million cap hit in next season, and then it jumps to over $5 million at $5.625 million in the 2020-21 season. And then it drops back to the $4.125 million in the 2021-22 season. And then it goes up again in the 2022-23 season to 5.625. So basically, it's a mess, and I don't think the Oilers wouldn't want to do it. Trading Lucic would be preferable to a buyout, but he'll have to be packaged with a significant sweetener. So right there just shows you that Lucic's value is pretty much gone. The Oilers might have to hold on to him, but it's something that I've been working around with on Cap Friendly, and of course I'm not a GM, and I also don't, have any ties to the NHL, but I have a couple ideas how the Oilers will get out of this situation. But again, that'll be in another video. So moving on to another buyout or trade rumor here. It's about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and apparently it's regarding Patrick Marleau. Now, they're just basically talking about how the Leafs may be able to work something out here, but I'm not really feeling the Leafs getting rid of Marleau. I don't think that it's going to work. We'll have to see. But Marleau has a full no movement clause, and maybe a team is willing to take him, it says here, but it doesn't really make sense considering that he probably doesn't want to go anywhere. So Friedman pointed out that there's also something to his contract that a lot of fans haven't really noticed, and I actually had no idea. So his signing bonus is paid in 2 installments, July and December. So that adds a wrinkle to any possible trade. So if a team acquires Marleau, they're actually paying more dollars than you expected, because if it was like everybody expected, his payment, his bonus on July 1st would essentially mean that he's getting paid almost his entire contract here because it's the last season, and then the team acquiring him would only be taking on like $1.25 million or something like that in actual dollars. Still the full salary, like AAV on their cap, but in actual dollars that they would pay him, it would be just over $1 million. But it looks like it's probably going to be like $2 or $3 million if they were to trade him after July 1st. But we'll have to see what happens. And plus, Marleau, like I said, has to agree to it. It is a really weird quirk, I guess. So we'll have to see what happens with Patrick Marleau. There's been some really good suggestions on the channel from Leaf fans saying what they think the Leafs will do. If I'm being honest with you guys, buyouts, all this other stuff like that doesn't work because he's over 35 years old, so the Leafs would hold on to that cap hit. So we'll have to see what happens, but it's looking like Patrick Marleau's probably going to be a Leaf next year, and I think Chris Johnston even said it's like 90% sure he's probably going to stay with the team because, I mean, why would he waive that no move? And, I mean, I don't think a lot of teams are going to be willing to take on his AAV unless they're trying to hit the cap floor. All right, moving on to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and it's talking about the salary cap room that they have. So they might have about $30 million in salary cap room for next season. Elliot Friedman wondered if they'll use that cap space to target cap-strapped clubs. So basically, see if they can acquire pieces from teams that are trying to, get rid of some of their cap. He also said they might just take a patient approach. Matt Duchene is a UFA. We know Bobrovsky and Panarin are UFAs. The Nashville Predators and Canadiens apparently are interested in Duchene, and we've heard a lot about Florida being interested in Panarin and Bobrovsky. Teams like Calgary had interest, but I don't know how that would work. But there's a ton of teams like the Islanders. It's going to be tough. So the Spectre's note here is basically something that I wanted to mention anyways. I'm not going to read that part because I have my own thoughts, and it kind of is similar to that. The Columbus Blue Jackets went all in, okay? So at this point, you got to wonder if Bobrovsky stays, which he probably isn't, then at least it softens the blow a little bit. But you gave up a lot for Duchene, and it says here too, and I completely agree, you'll have to overpay to keep Duchene. Because he's got options elsewhere, and if you really want to just try to not lose all those assets completely, you would just try to keep Matt Duchene. But because of the relationship from before, it's almost looking like Panarin and Bobrovsky are pretty much gone, and if Duchene goes as well, Columbus is going to have to use that money to be a little bit creative. They might have a chance to sign Dzingel, I don't know. They might have a chance to go after some other free agents, maybe just try to fill out the team. Columbus is still a good team, and without those guys, yes, that's a humongous hit. But depending on what they can do, like it says here too, they might be able to go make some trades with cap-strapped teams. We'll have to see what happens, but it's going to be very interesting for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I actually think that they're going to make a pretty significant offer to Duchene. I think that they feel like they can keep him, so we'll have to keep our eyes out for that one. Basically, some quick notes here I'll mention off before we end this video. There's 2 or 3 things here. Just some quick notes about the Minnesota Wild. Maybe Jared Spurgeon could be on the move. Jason Zucker. Spurgeon is probably a decent piece, a veteran blue liner. Zucker was almost apparently traded to the Calgary Flames at the deadline. We talked about that, so we'll have to see what happens with the Wild. But it looks like they may be in a little bit of a retooling phase. It says that Spurgeon wants to stay in Minnesota. And Fenton is keen to keep him, the GM. Paul Fenton, the GM of the Wild. And it says here it's going to depend on how much he wants and how long. So Spurgeon could be on the move, or maybe they get a deal done and keep him there in Minnesota. So again, we'll keep updated with all this stuff. Elliot Friedman also is wondering if Tyson Barrie might be a guy that Colorado looks to trade, or if they're starting to talk to him, signing him wise. I think that they're going to talk to Barrie. He's a decent piece for them, but they're saying with Makar's arrival, maybe that makes him a little bit expendable to acquire a piece. Maybe another piece on the blue line, maybe another forward, so that way it's not just the McKinnon show. I know Rantanen and Landeskog are very good, but we all know how good McKinnon was in these playoffs. But we'll have to see what happens there. It's also said that there's some people saying that if Barrie was to be traded, it would be a good hockey trade. So there would be pieces going back that would help the club now, maybe a little bit in the future, depending on the player that you get. We'll have to see what happens. This is the Spectre's note here. Barrie's fate could also depend on how costly he'll be to re-sign. So much like Spurgeon, GM Joe Sakic could attempt to re-sign him to an extension this summer. If Barrie proves too expensive to retain, Sakic may listen to offers. Again, none of this stuff is a guarantee, but we'll keep our eye on that. The Winnipeg Jets, they're talking about their blue line as well. Myers, Trouba, who's going to get moved? Maybe both stay. I don't know how that would work. You have to sign Connor, Laine. Myers is a UFA. Trouba is an RFA, and they've had trouble, no pun intended, they've had trouble signing him before. He's got arbitration rights. There's a lot of guys that need contracts, and they don't have the money to keep everybody. There's even been talk about them trading Ehlers. This is something that I want to wait and talk about in its own video, but I definitely think Trouba's going to get traded. They might try to keep Myers. Laine and Kyle Connor getting done is probably inevitable. I'd keep your eye on Ehlers. I wouldn't personally trade him if I'm Winnipeg, but with the money that they're handing out, somebody's got to be expendable at this point. Basically finishing it off here, Vegas Golden Knights are going to have trouble staying under the salary cap next season. Colin Miller might be a guy that could get moved. We heard about him possibly getting moved. Freeman also said maybe Marchessault or Karlsson could be guys that get moved out. I can't see Marchessault at all. William Karlsson, we'll have to see there. Again, that one is kind of iffy. I'm sure some Vegas fans probably won't like hearing that. I just hit 5,000 subs as I'm recording this video, but it could go down by the time it's posted, so false alarm if I'm not at 5,000 subs, but it says I just hit it, so thank you if it stays there. But the Golden Knights, they're not going to have to, like, really, it says give away a player. I don't think they're really going to have to give away a player. It talks about David Clarkson in here too, but Cap Friendly indicates that their projected salary cap hit is over $82.3 million for next season, and the salary cap's going to be roughly at 83, I believe. Karlsson's a restricted free agent, so with arbitration rights, so if they want to keep him, they're going to have to shed some salary. They'll get some relief by placing permanently sidelined David Clarkson, his $5.25 million on the LTIR, which takes it off the cap, but they can't do that until the start of the season, so they've got to do something here. They could try to trade his dead cap space by bundling his rights with a draft pick or prospect to a budget-minded club that must reach the cap minimum, so we're seeing that in a couple trade offers here. But Miller's been mentioned as a trade candidate, as well as Cody Eakin. You're going to get rid of a minor piece before you get rid of a major piece. I can't see them getting rid of Marchessault, and I believe they'd probably want to keep William Karlsson. So just another quick thing here, the Canucks are going to be looking at all trade possibilities regarding their blue line. It's possible only one of Edler, Hutton, and or Chris Tanev returns next season. And also, just quick on the Islanders, Freeman said the Islanders are working away at getting pending UFA center Brock Nelson under contract. So that was a ton. We had the Islanders on here, the Canucks, the Golden Knights, the Jets, the Avs, the Wild, the Blue Jackets, the Leafs, the Penguins, the Oilers. Lots of stuff on here and lots to talk about. So make sure you guys leave your trade suggestions down below, video suggestions, whatever you want to do. If I am actually at 5,000 subscribers when you're watching this, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. I'd love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 6,000, I guess, if we're really at 5. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video stream. Peace.